I always felt that the African American Museum was 1619 before the project,
That's right.
critical race theory, before critical race theory was popular. That in essence, what I really felt was crucially important was that America has rarely confronted its tortured racial history. It's rarely said, how do I understand who I really am? And that often when people talk about issues of race, it's really ancillary stories that the real story is here, but oh yeah, we need to talk about race. And what I wanted to do with the museum, and what I hope the discussions around 1619 do, is not only say, let us make more visible this history, but rather to suggest that this history is the quintessential American history. That in essence, these are the stories that shape us all. And that in essence, if we do not grapple with these stories, if we do not candidly face these stories, then what we're doing is we're really not knowing who we really are. And I've always been struck by, at the opening of the museum, what President George Bush said. He said that a great country faces its history. And if we're a great country, let us not be afraid of understanding who we once were, helping us better contextualize who we are now, and maybe then finding a better future.
Yeah, no, it reminds me of something that the late Toni Morrison always said, and that is that when you talk about American identity, you're talking about race,
Right.
and you've got to grapple with these issues of race. And even as we do that, grapple with what people have called the sort of difficult or
Right.
hard truth of this country, you've also pointed us towards something else, and that is that in talking about race, it's not simply trying to talk about the past
Right.
and the past that has brought us here, but it's also required if we are going to indeed be better.
That's right.
And you've called the museum in this regard sort of a site of transformation.
Yep. Yep.
What is the role of museums, if you will, in terms of trying to help the nation heal and in the struggle for racial justice?
I've always felt my whole career has been that when a nation is in crisis, its institutions need to step up. And
Mm,
I've always felt that museums had a crucial role. People trust museums. Museums are one of the few places people of different political points of view and sometimes even racial points of view come together. So I've always felt that museums needed to have the courage to be the places that matter, to talk about difficult issues. I've pushed museums to say, if you don't talk about social justice, then you're not a museum. If you're a place of history and you don't talk about social justice, what you're talking about is nostalgia. And
hmm.
nostalgia is fun, but it won't fill the belly. It won't inspire the soul. And so for me, what I expect is that museums ought to be a place where people come and grapple with the past, grapple with the present, but maybe more than anything else, if I had my druthers, I'd rather be a place that helped the public embrace ambiguity, right?
Uh,
Because one of the great flaws I would argue in America is that we look for simple answers to complex questions.
that's right.
And sometimes museums have contributed to that. My notion is if we can create opportunities for people to embrace ambiguity, to understand nuances, shades of gray, complexity, debate, oh my God, what a contribution we make to this nation. So for me, I challenge museums. If you are cities on the hill that nobody goes to, if you are places that recognize that it's just about yesterday, not about today and tomorrow, then why are you there? But if you're institutions that say, how do I help make a country better? That's what you need to do.